Hey, what's up guys? So this is kind of an impromptu video, but I wanted to come on here and talk about this. If you haven't seen recently, we just got a bunch of new Kempers. And if you're new to this channel, if this is your first time watching, by the way, hi, what's up? I'm David. I just made a video the other day talking about why I just left my Kemper and went to Quad Cortex. And so my first instinct, because I was talking to a buddy as well about this, and beforehand, who was also thinking about making the switch, and I was kind of telling him my reasoning of why I decided to switch and everything. And he was saying, I might just wait, like what if they come out with something new, like right after I switch? And I was like, dude, that's not gonna happen. What are the odds of that? And then of course, a day or two ago, a couple days after this conversation, I see on Instagram, Kemper's teasing a bunch of new stuff. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are they about to come out with kind of this like new all updated crazy Kemper, like right after I just made this whole video and like sold mine and switched and everything? So I just wanted to come on here and talk about it because I think it's a really interesting topic. There's a lot of opinions, both positive and negative online about it and everything. And being someone who kind of just switched off, and I kind of gave my reasons for that the other day, I wanted to kind of join this conversation and kind of open it up as a fun kind of place to discuss it and look into these new Kempers and what they offer, and if it is something that could be tangible to switch back to at some point, or if you think you want to stick with your original Kemper or whatever one you have. I'd love this to be a fun place to kind of civilly discuss that. And again, so when getting into this, I'm going to share kind of some of my thoughts on opinions on this. They're not all going to be positive and everything like that. Not overly negative, but I just want to put up front, I don't want this video or even this channel to be a place where I just talk smack about a product or whatever else. I just want to talk opinions and everything. And if you have a certain opinion, feel free to leave that below. But at the end of the day, this channel, I want it to be a positive place where everyone in the gear world and guitar community, no matter what you play, what type of music you play, what you like, you're welcome here and everything. So I just want to get that out of the way because this is kind of a touchy topic at the moment, a very interesting topic, and I wanted to talk about it. So first and foremost, let's get into what's new. So we're on the website here. I will say, first positive I like, this black looks pretty sleek. Or at least, I don't know if that's just the shadow of the way it was photographed, but it does look like it's a black kind of color. I think it looks pretty good. I think it's a nice little change. The main thing that they're pushing out is basically it's a new DSP chipset and everything like that. So it's gonna have a lot more processing power, which they're using that to where you can essentially run up to 20 blocks. It says right here, 20 blocks in series. And as well as a new area of profiling where it says there's more than 100,000 individual frequency points being hit. So it's proclaiming to be the most precise recreation ever achieved. So I'll be very curious to see once some sound samples start to come out and once some players get their hands on one. I probably won't be getting one just because I just dropped the money I would have dropped on this on a Quad Cortex. Liquid profiling technology, which I believe that was already there, but maybe it's just a higher advanced version. As well as unparalleled precision and feel, which that's the one thing that, and I will agree with this, Kemper has always been kind of the best at, is the feel of the digitally, profiled amplifier. So if they can improve on that, that's awesome. So essentially what's new is you have 7 additional effect slots, and they're calling it fixed effects. I don't have the best understanding of this yet, but what it basically means, it's effects that it's fixed. It's kind of always there, and that gives you more room on your physical slots to control more stuff independently, and everything. And so it gives you more effects, which is great, because that was one of my complaints in my video that I talked about, is the fact that you only have a certain amount of effect slots, they're routed a specific way, and then you have just the 4 switches. Again, the UI on these, it appears to be pretty much the same. So you still have the same 4 foot switches, but I will say, and it'll be curious to see in use, having the ability to have effects is fixed, so you don't have to assign them to this, does give that improvement a bit more, which is really, really nice, I think. So it's a new lightweight aluminum design, which is great. So it's gonna be a lot lighter. I don't think they told us how much lighter, but that is great, because especially if you're a touring gigging musician, you're flying a lot, the lighter the better. Overcharge fees are a thing. So seeing it be a lot lighter, which is nice, and hopefully it still kind of can retain that really rigid Kemper, they're tanks. So, without sacrificing tank-like build quality. So hopefully that remains true. So that's nice. As well as the player series, apparently the player already came with the internal capability for all of this stuff. So if you already have a player, you should be able to get this upgrade. I don't know if on their website, from what I've been able to see, and let me know in the comments if this is true or not, it looks like you might have to buy the upgrade. I don't know if it's gonna just be a free upgrade if you already have one. From what it's like leading to is, so yeah, it's like details and pricing. So it looks like you'll have to pay for an upgrade, which I don't know the inner workings of that. It could be a free thing, but it looks like you have to pay for it. Don't really love that. I think that's kind of a little lame, especially if you're already paying $700 for a unit like this. To then have to do an upgrade to just unlock more features that it's already capable of. So let's talk about kind of some of the big things as well that I've seen a lot online. And this is where I want to open it up to discussion, because a lot of what I talked about in my original video of why I left my Kemper is the UI. That's kind of my main thing, is I go into a lot more detail about that, but I'm not a fan of the UI of the unit, and I preferred kind of more modern, sleeker UI that something like the Quad Cortex has. Because I'll admit, my first instinct too was when I saw these new units is I was like, oh, it's just the same. It's just basically like an upgraded internal, but the same external. Okay, is that what people still want? Am I, as kind of someone who's in this industry and everything, and I see people who tour with Kemper and I see people who tour with Quad Cortex and everything else, do people really not care? Let me know down below. Do you care about the UI and everything like that? Is that something that never bugs you, or something that bugs me? But hey, maybe I was, maybe that's not the case. But that is something that for me, like, kind of bummed me out a bit. This unit has been this design has been a thing since the beginning, and as well as the Kemper stage, I believe, has had that design since it came out in, I think, late 2019, early 2020. So it would have been nice to at least see a bit of a different UI, a bit of a different change, make it at least a bit more modern. Maybe, like I said, additional effect slots, or maybe some ways to reroute, maybe the rig buttons. If you wanted to have it on one rig, you could change the settings to where you could have that, then control more effect pedals, which, who knows, maybe we'll do that in update as well. The other main one is stereo amps. And these are two things that, because Kemper doing this has kind of made me like really kind of rethink, like, because they've been kind of the top of the game for a long time, like I talk about. And we've seen other units kind of come in, but like no one's really still been able to. I do still think the majority of touring and musicians and everything like that lean towards Kemper. I still think it's the leading one. And so it's kind of made me rethink, like, kind of from their perspective of like, why wouldn't they redo a full redesign of the unit? If they're, I don't know how long they've been working on this Mach 2 stuff and everything. And so it kind of made me open up for, kind of want to open up for questions and actual conversation about it. Is this something that you care about? Is this something that you want, or are you very happy with it? Because the other thing as well is, yeah, like I said, the no stereo amps thing, being able to run two different amp profiles at the same time. It does make me wonder if that's something that they just haven't been able to do yet, because with the whole DSP thing and everything, I would almost wonder if you would have the ability and the capability to do it, because, and I'm not an expert on this stuff or anything, but you would think that you would maybe be able to sacrifice some of those extra effect slots if you don't need it, especially for someone who is already on Kemper for so long and you're fine with the routing of the effects and everything like that. Maybe only have like 2 or 3 extra effects for like your compressor or chorus or whatever you want, and then use that extra DSP to run an additional amp and cabinet and whatnot. So maybe that's something they'll push out in an update after these units are ready and available. And so let me know what your guys' thoughts are below. Like I said, for me, it was kind of interesting to see where it's just basically the same unit and then upgraded internals. So I don't know, it's interesting news. It's not enough to me. I will say, if you're kind of wondering down below, I'm not going to be getting, returning my Quad Cortex and ordering one of these. I've been very happy with my Quad Cortex, and I think I made the right choice there. For me personally, again, that's the emphasis I want to create here. For me personally, for what I like and look for, Quad Cortex is what I've been enjoying in the last, month or so that I've had it. But I want to know what you guys think. Are you going to be, if you're someone who has a Kemper stage right now, or a head, or whatever version you have, are you going to be trying to sell your Kemper and upgrade to one of these new ones, or are you fine with your current stage? If you are someone who's coming into the market, fresh into the market of profiles and digital modelers and all this stuff, is this interest you now that it has all the new DSP and capabilities? And I will say one thing to note, it's $1,500 versus, I believe the Kemper price for the longest time was $1,700. So they're kind of like edging out, stuff like the Quad Cortex, which now just recently went up to $1,799 retail price and everything. So that just got a $100 bump up. So that's now even more expensive. It is kind of skirting under the price point as well as for the rest of them. So that does give it a nice advantage of that and everything. So yeah, that's kind of what's new with Kemper. We haven't really seen many videos on the tones yet, the sounds that they're kind of advertising. I think that's going to kind of be a very big determining factor here is, does it really sound that much better than the original Kemper units? Because they sound really good. I said in my other video, tone really isn't as much of a factor for a lot of these units because they all sound great. For me, it's a much more of like a workflow thing. And another notable thing to say is, if you haven't seen, because this is kind of something that just kind of slide in here, but on the if you don't know, the toaster heads and like the rack units, they didn't have the ability to do like the Bluetooth app control. And so if you have one of the toasters, if you don't know about Stage, basically you can get an iOS app on your phone, and it's basically the editor on your phone, which is really nice. So you can connect to your Kemper and everything, and make changes and make edits on your phone like pretty instantaneously. And so now all the units, the toaster, the rack unit, and the Stage Mark II, all the Mark II units support that, have the iOS support, which is a great feature as well. It's really nice, especially if you're someone at home with your toaster, if you're not using the editor or anything like that, you can then pull it up and make changes. So I don't know, like I said, just something that I found was interesting, and because I just made a video the other day about why I switched, I kind of wanted to come here and talk about this because it just felt like really funny timing. And so I wanted to know your guys' perspective and your opinion, whether you're someone who's just playing guitar at home or you're a touring artist or whatever else. Like, is this new Kemper something that you're interested in? Is this something you're going to be purchasing and picking up? So, all right, anyways, thank you guys for watching. Again, this is a random impromptu video. I'm actually not at home right now. If you can't tell, obviously, I'm in a hotel room in Seoul, South Korea, where I'm playing the jazz festival tomorrow with an artist. And so I will have a video talking about all that, as well as my experience of programming my quad cortex for a first full show. That'll be coming out within the next, hopefully, week or two, I want to say. And so, yeah. And if you're new here, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. My name's David. Please like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day.